Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here and welcome to Hexarchy. Those of you who remember this game will notice that it looks an awful lot different from the last time you take a look at this. Now just for full disclosure, I am actually involved in the development of this game through the Yogscast Games publishing thing. Basically what they do is they have like a creator fund where you can put a little bit of money in towards the development of a game, and if that game is successful, the idea is that you get your money back plus a portion of the profits. I chose to invest in this game, so that at the very least tells you a little bit about how I feel about it. Now, we're going to go ahead and set up a single player game, and I don't particularly care which civ that I play because I'm going to try to do my best to explain things. And I've always liked playing games like this. I always love to go in just kind of randomly. I want to explore things. I want to try things out. I want to see what the lay of the land is like. So we are playing as Arabia. We start off with a few cards in our hand. And yes, this is a card-based 4X game that also has like elements of, well, not the older version of roguelikes where you didn't have meta progression. I actually think this game would be pretty cool if it had like a little bit of meta progression. Could be kind of neat. I don't know, something for the game designers to explore. I believe Arabia's ability here is Trade Hub. Let's go ahead and get started on the turn. So the very first thing that you do in the game is you pick where your capital city goes. You don't have a settler, you don't have a unit, you have a card that you play to found your capital city. And the game generally recommends pretty reasonable location. You can see here this is next to some horses, it's also next to some marble, it's got gems, it's got cows, it's got cotton, I believe that is. And I like the idea of being coastal, but I really like the idea of being adjacent to these resources as well. So this is kind of a hard choice actually here. God, you know, just being coastal is so valuable that I might just have to do it. But then again, if I place here, I've got a slightly better empire in terms of, let's be coastal, let's have a good time on the coast. This is Mecca. Welcome to our city. So let's talk a little bit about the UI. In the top left, you have your score, which is based around how many hexes you have divided by 2, how much population you have, and then I believe there are other things that you can get score from depending on what you do in the game. Down here we have our deck of cards, and we will continue to draw cards from here, and we can pay 2 gold to draw even more cards to cycle through our deck. There is a technology tree as well, I believe, if I come in here. Cards with the green symbol next to it are cards that are actually already in my deck, and as you can see there's a whole bunch of these technology cards that we need to research to open up how our opening moves are going to be. So let's have a look at Trade Hub here. This will cost 1 hammer. It'll add 3 to 5 merchant resources to the market and reduce all trade overhead costs by half for this turn, and it'll produce +1 gold. Well, there's really nothing in the market right now, so what happens if I play this? I could burn it. I don't think I will. Like, I'm curious, what happens if I play it? So I get 1 gold, and okay, so there's a bunch of resources in there. That's awesome. Now, let's have a look at our location here. So our city, I believe, if we click on it, you can see we have a citizen working this 3 food tile, which will result in us growing. Now, what I could do, if I wanted to be kind of sneaky here, I could use that gold that we got to buy a fish from the market and put the fish into Mecca, thus forcing it to grow to 2 population, which means I'm now working a hammer tile, and so next turn we will have more hammers, which will allow us to play more cards. Very interesting, very cool, very fun. So if we take a look at writing, there's a bunch of technologies here. Most importantly, we could get access to the library next turn. Or we could go for masonry, right? If we wanted to build roads, if we wanted to build mines, if we wanted to build metalworking. I think I like the idea of woodworking here. This would lead to a lumber mill, and I believe there is a lumber mill on this tile. Yeah, we could definitely do a lumber mill opener here. And things like the warehouse and the granary seem quite good. So let's go with a lumber mill. And then I'm going to store the lumber mill in my inventory so that I can use it next turn. I do have 1 hammer left over, but there's nothing I can really spend my hammer on. So I'm just going to go ahead and end the turn there. Now, my city has lost a little chunk of happiness here. It's down to, I think, 5 out of 6 happiness. So we're going to need to get our hands on a luxury resource sooner rather than later. But we draw new cards. The lumber mill comes back into our hand. Ooh, now we could go for a settler. But there's nothing left in the trading window. So you can technically make a settler if you have a bunch of food resources. We don't have those food resources. I could spend 4 hammers to get them out here. One thing we can do is see this promotion card. I can trash it, get +1 science and 2 extra hammers, which will allow me to have a more interesting turn. So for example, what if I made another settler? And cities are quite good in this game. It's always good to get more. If I make a settler, and then I put 1 food back into the city, so now it's back at 2 population, I can place the lumber mill here, boosh, we get a fireword that we can burn for a hammer. Do we want to burn this for a hammer right now? Let's see, do we want to do mysticism? If I spent 1 of my science, oh, the first time you burn a card, okay, let me explain that. The first time that you burn a card, you get a science and 2 hammers. Every other card burn for that turn will be just 1 hammer. So this fuel we could theoretically store this for next turn and it's worth 2 hammers and a sign. So I think that's what I'm going to do. The settler can't move until next turn. I could play mysticism and we could go for something like God King or paganism. There's like monuments and temples of Diana, but I like the idea of God King. That always feels nice to me. So let's do God King. We can play God King and we can pick up Divine Decree, and Divine Decree will give us +1 gold and happiness to be produced by the palace, which will mean that our palace will not have so much negative happiness. And I think that is all of our resources spent. We could technically draw a card. I'm tempted to save the scout. It would be nice to have a scout next turn, so I will hold on to that and we'll end our turn. There are things that you can find with scouts that are worth it. He has an Axeman already. Oh my god. I need to make a warrior. Wow, that is a really damn early Axeman. Okay, let's burn the firewood. Let's play the Divine Decree into the capital, which should help with the happiness problem. You can see here that the palace is producing +2 gold and +2 happiness now, thanks to the Divine Decree. And I'm going to go ahead and make myself a warrior in the capital to keep me safe. I could spend some gold to draw a card. I am going to draw a card here. There's agriculture. We could play agriculture and get our hands on something like a farm. Now the farms are real handy. We could play a farm on this berry tile here and bring it up to 4 food, as well as +1 food resource per turn. So I like the idea of picking up a farm here. When you play a technology, by the way, you get to pick one of the cards that it unlocks, but then they go into your discard pile and your deck gets bigger. You can see here, if we go into our deck area, all the technologies that we have unlocked now have green symbols beside the cards that they unlock, which is kind of cool, right? I like this whole thing. And essentially what you can do is trim your deck down and just keep it really, really tight so that every turn you're getting the cards that you need to expand. So we're going to go for a farm here. Boosh. I'm going to run my settler to the south. You can see this tile now is 5 food, 5 food and 1 wheat per turn. And we also have a 3 production tile here, 2 food. So we are like on a serious train here. I think I like the idea of moving to here. And units can be moved just basically like you just click on the settler, you right click where you want him to go, he moves there, boom, and I can settle him next turn. Can I do it this turn actually? Does it work this turn? Okay. 1 order per turn. Yeah, I couldn't remember. It's been a little while since I played. I don't necessarily want to do fishing. Let me have a look here. It could be good to get a fishing hut. What are my current civics? I think I want to cycle my deck, so I'm just going to leave these cards to come back around. It would have been nice to get a scout. You know, I'll save the scout. I can play a scout in this city over here. But I'm really hoping that I get... Oh, I do have hammers. I should play fishing, and I should take hunter-gatherers. Then I can take this promotion from hunter-gatherers, and I can give that to my warrior next turn. Maybe? No, I'd rather just cycle. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like that my city's under siege, because if this unit dies, I think he just takes my city. Was not expecting an Axeman this early into the game. I'm going to get this guy to fortify. This will hopefully give him better defenses. I will settle my second city, Boosh. I can't believe I'm going to die here. We could... Ooh, firewood. We could burn this firewood. That's +2 hammers and a science. That's really nice. We could technically produce the Hanging Gardens, but what I really need is some money to draw units. So I'm going to sell off my science and my food so that I can draw 2 more cards. There's the warehouse. Well, the warehouse is practically free to play this turn. What it does is it allows you to build more than 1 thing per turn in a city. Normally you can only build 1 thing per turn in a city, so this lets you do 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into Mecca. It also allows me to store more resources over here. I will play another Divine Decree in the hope that that, pays dividends, because now if we click in here and we take a look at the palace, now it's getting +2 gold and +2 happiness. Unfortunately, I think we might actually die here. I guess I could play a scout on this tile too, and the scout can technically tank a hit, which might buy me another turn. What are we working over here in Medina? It looks like we are working the cattle tile, which I'm totally fine with. Although, do I want more hammers? I think I would actually rather to get a little bit more gold. So I think the first turn that a citizen appears, they are free to move. What if I moved you to the horses? That's +1 gold and +1 hammer, which would be nice for next turn. Let's go ahead and end the turn. This spare hammers will be converted into gold at the end of a turn. So that means I'll be able to dig through my deck a little bit easier. Okay, yeah, I need to get more units in this city, like ASAP. Archer is huge. Okay, so we can build 2 things per turn. I'm going to build the archer and I'm going to build the warrior. This is going to hurt the city's population, but I really just need the defenders. I'm going to go ahead and get my scout out of the city and send him over here because there are things that we can explore. Like, I would have loved to have explored this hut, but I really just want to learn more about what's over here. We have a holy site right here, which gives you 5 victory points. It's like basically picking up a free wonder. Do I want to use Trade Hub or do I want to draw? Well, we got the units that we needed. We don't need to play a harbour. It would be nice to play a harbour next turn, so I'm going to save that. The Temple of Diana, I simply just don't have the resources for. It would be nice to pick up masonry. If we could get a mine, for example, on this gem tile, that would help me take care of my luxury problem, and it would also potentially be a lot of money. So let's go ahead and pick up a mine. I'm going to save the mine for next turn as well, and I may as well play the trade hub in case there's any resources that I really want to pick up. Marble is actually generally a really good resource to pick up, so I'm going to spend the money to get to marble, because you can usually build wonders and stuff like that. Marble is super valuable. So he just increased the strength of that unit, unfortunately, but my archer is in the city, and I think I should win this now that he has 2 strength and I have 3. In fact, I might actually be able to attack him and win. We could settle another city. I will definitely be going for a settler here, and I'll see if I can buy the food so I don't have to pay production on it. That seems to suit me quite well. Let's have a little bit of a plan here. So can you ranged attack that guy? Boom. Right, so we got the kill, and you're always at war in this game. There is no peace. There is no diplomacy. It is a competitive war type game. There is no getting along with your neighbors. I definitely want to build the mine here. That will improve this tile to 2 production 1 gold, but it'll also give me access to gems, and that will allow me to increase the happiness of my cities. This yellow bar is the happiness, the green is the growth. If you put a luxury into a city that has a full happiness bar, it has a chance to get a victory point. So luxuries are a really valuable resource. The lower that a city's happiness is, the less resources that it will produce. So happiness is actually quite important for the long term in your civilization. Now, I could play agrarian society, and if I played agrarian society, I would get access to the winery as well as cultivate. Now, the nice thing about cultivate is it means I don't have to build as many farms. I would lose forager and woodsman, but I haven't really been using them. So I think I'd like to take a cultivate here and play the cultivate on my existing farm. That will bring this up to a 2 food producing tile, which will allow me to kind of choose where my food goes. I'm going to go ahead and build a settler. Oh, I need to buy 1 more food. Let's take a cow, boom, boom. And then I can buy the settler with, rather than using production, I can buy it with food, which means it's technically just slightly cheaper. And I will play a harbour in my capital. Now, what does the harbour do? It gives you +1 gold per turn, but it adds 1 to 2 merchant resources to this trade window over here every single turn, which opens up opportunities. Now, I actually don't see a whole lot of really good fishing huts, but I think I will keep fishing huts in my deck. I have nothing I need to burn right now. Let's go ahead and play the harbour in the capital. This will start opening up opportunities for trade. And I think that is all my resources for this turn. A unit needs orders. So who is it? My scout. Righty-yo. Let's have a little peek over here what's going on. Right, so there's actually not too much room for my empire, but I think I can make use of these coastal cities quite a bit. So I will be keeping the fishing hut. It would be nice to get the Great Lighthouse. You can get a lot of money out of that. -3 gold. So we are spending a decent amount of gold maintaining our empire. So we're going to want to think about getting roads soon. And some new abilities have come. This is the Divine Favor card. Really good for early game war stuff. I can actually just totally burn it though, which is what I'm going to do. I don't generally find that to be particularly useful. We explored this and we get a bunch of free resources. Okay, that's excellent. Now, we're over the limit on our inventory, so we need to keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 food into Mecca to get it to 4 population, and then I'm going to play a granary in that city to get it to 5 population. It is going to start losing happiness pretty quickly, but if I build a monument for one marble, it will improve the happiness in both Mecca and Medina by +1, because what the monument does is it gives +1 happiness and culture to all cities within 2 hexes. And if I put a 3rd city right here and I put a monument here, that'll be 3 happiness and 3 culture. And I do plan to put a city here eventually. I'm going to try and do the infinite city settlement strategy. Now we have 3 science in the bank, and we could go for the Great Lighthouse. Ooh, I think I would like to bank the Great Lighthouse. For sure. I'm going to bank the Great Lighthouse. That's completely necessary. I'm going to play a luxury into here. I'll play a luxury into here as well to get that victory point chance. 1 luxury, 1 culture. We didn't land the victory point. I need to lose 2 more resources. I'm going to spend my science on horseback riding. No. What if I drew a card? I'm going to draw 1 card. Ah, perfect. This is an excellent use of my hammers. So I'm going to go ahead and improve the horses here, and now horseback riding is a little bit more justifiable. I can get access to the horseman. I'm going to let that cycle into my deck, or do I want to build it right now actually? You know, it wouldn't be the end of the world for me to build a horseman right now. If Rome is undefended, I could actually go kill him with a horseman, and he only has a scout, so there might be potential here. Where do I want this settler to go? I'm trying to think of what the most efficient place is. There's a nice forest here. There's a nice food here. I want to get this holy site. I want this marble as well. and I want access to these coastal tiles. So I think, what if I settled here and built the Great Lighthouse? This city would be incredible with a Great Lighthouse. It has so many things, although we would probably want to get the pearls in that city then. So I think going to here and settling a Great Lighthouse city is like superb. It's got the pearls. It's got serious potential. I don't know if we want to play paganism. Healing ritual is quite handy. None of my units are hurt, so I'm just going to go ahead and... yeah, what the hell? Let's play it. Let's play it. Put it into our deck. I'll take healing ritual, but I'm not actually going to use it, so it will get discarded. I have 2 hammers, but nothing to do with those hammers, so we will just end our turn. Now, interestingly, it looks like he built and buffed a unit. So what unit did he build? That is curious. Let's have a look. Okay, we have Great Lighthouse, a farm, archer, axeman. He actually built a settler. Oh, wow. Okay, and he actually has a barracks as well. The barracks thing is kind of scary. How far can my horseman get? I can go step on his barracks. If I could go get a kill on Rome right now, that would be huge. Go ahead and attack. 1 order per turn, so we'll have to attack next turn. We could make an axeman and mobilize him this turn, because we do have a horse card. It would cost me a lot of resources, but if I play axeman and then I play mobilize, then I can move this axeman this turn, and I can also move the archer this turn. We can capture tiles with units, by the way, but I don't think that's a particularly important thing to do when we have an opportunity to conquer a city. That's huge. Potentially. Now, he would have to build a very strong unit to resist this attack. I think scouts are now redundant, so I'm going to go ahead and delete the scout card from my deck. So you kind of naturally learn which cards matter at which phase of the game, and then by trimming your deck, you increase your action pool. Let's go ahead and settle this city. This is the city that we wanted, and we'll immediately play the Great Lighthouse in here. Boom. Let's also play a farm in here. The city will need the early growth. So I'll play a farm. That'll be a 4 food tile that'll allow the city to grow consistently and start working these tiles to produce gold. And I need the gold to fund the huge empire that I'm planning. We could also go for construction. We could get a fort, a Great Wall, or the Colosseum. The Colosseum is quite handy. I think I'll pick that up and try to store it in my bank. And I will play a luxury to bring Medina back up to its normal level. We have a bunch of food in the pocket, but we're holding those for settlers. I don't think I should draw any more cards. I've used most of my hammers. I could draw cards and then funnel them, but I'm just going to go ahead and end my turn. I think my scout still needs orders, so go there. There is a passage through the mountain. Interesting. Looks like he's going to try and settle another city. I might turn around and try to kill him. And looks like my people are happy. They got a We Love You event, which gives us a victory point. The number of hearts beside a city will show you how many victory points you've taken from it, or you've gained from it, rather. We could do another cultivate on this farm right here, which would again give huge acceleration to my capital. It's a single hammer, so I think that's really worth it. Can we go ahead and capture that settler? Or I guess you kill them in this game, you don't capture. We will kill you. And now the city is vulnerable to capture. We can get it next turn. We'll position you over here. It's huge to steal someone's capital, by the way. We're doing amazingly right now. Let's play Trade Hub. We get a little bit of gold, potential purchases. Not enough stone to really do anything. I guess I could buy a stone to help build a road, and roads between your cities reduces the maintenance cost of your cities. Every city costs a certain amount of maintenance, as do units. The further a unit is from your town, the more it costs. You can see here when I hover over the gold, you can see Damascus right now is costing me 6 gold because you need to have roads to reduce the maintenance cost. And similarly, these units over here, the units, you can see this guy here is 1 gold, this guy's 2 gold, this guy's 2 gold. Based on the distance they are from your supply lines, that's how expensive they are. So, to that end, I'm going to go ahead and build a road. Let me see if I can make this work. I can spend 4 hammers or 1 stone. Let's connect these cities. This will save me a bit of money. In theory, next turn at least. It probably won't do anything yet. Let's make sure we use the luxuries to keep our cities nice and happy. And I can spend a little bit of food. You don't want to overgrow in here, because the more that your cities grow, the more luxuries they demand, and it can be hard to keep them supplied. So you have to be a little bit careful. You have to play things a little bit by ear. We are currently up to 36 victory points, and we need to get 100. I like it so far. We get the warehouse. I like this hand, a settler. Can we capture the city? Oh, we can pillage it. Oh, we just raised it. All right, I guess you can't capture capitals. I mean, that was pretty cool. We got a bunch of resources out of it. Let's go for Antium next. I'm going to keep my scout in this choke point, and he's going to gather salt for me, or marble for me, rather, because marble is a super useful resource. I would love to have a scout here gathering stone. I'd love to get another mine going. It would be nice to play a warehouse. It would be nice to play a settler. I think I will play a settler in Medina. I will play a warehouse in Damascus. I will get a fishing hut on the pearls. Now, fishing huts, by the way, they give you +1 food to a tile. So they make these quite profitable tiles. You can see here, it's worth 2 food and 4 gold. It's really, really nice tile. This is going to fuel my empire. I have a ton of gold in the bank, by the way. I can start doing some like seriously aggressive deck trimming. Let's play a horseman in Mecha, and I'm going to go ahead and give this horseman Berserker so that he can attack twice per turn. I'm going to give this horseman double time so that he has twice as much movement as a normal unit. Weirdly enough, this horseman produces +1 victory point. How odd. So I got 2 victory points from raising a city, and I would like to settle some more. I have no hammers, but I have a ton of gold. I think it's time that we start pulling in cards to deplete our deck. We want to start cutting through all the chaff and the fat in our deck. So there's a granary. Granary is a good card. Now there is a downside to doing this, is that you can kind of cycle through cards that you actually want to do. And since I haven't gotten what I was looking for, I'm going to not cycle my deck anymore. Looks like some of my resources might get auto-sold based on what I get here. Score is up to 40 this turn, and a new hand is drawn. My deck is shuffled. I think it might be time to start getting rid of... I think the warrior now is redundant because we have the Axeman. So I'm going to go ahead and burn the warrior, boom, to get a little bit more productivity. I'm going to kill this settler. Why don't you go ahead and ranged attack him? Then I'll get this horseman onto this tile. Units can stack. It is a unit stacking game. We'll move the... Well, we could start capturing tiles if we really wanted to. Every tile that you capture does give you score. So it's like half a victory point to do this claiming of territory. The swordsman over here is kind of scary. I think swordsmen come from metallurgy, right? Yeah, so it would be good if I could do that. I think I just burnt metallurgy into the pile, which is unfortunate. So where is this settler going to go? Honestly, I think it would be good to go right here. This seems like a good spot. Captures the holy site. Will very soon capture the marble. Alternatively, I could go right there. This is, I feel like, an equally valid location. It turns, well, do we really want to settle there? Yeah, I'm going to settle right here. This turns this into a choke point city. I've never tried to settle on desert before, so we'll kind of learn by ear here. I want to play another harbour. I'll play that harbour into Damascus. Remember, there's +1 gold per turn, plus extra options in the trading window. I would really like a winery. In particular, in my capital, a winery would suit me really, really well. It produces wine, it gives you gold, and wine is a luxury resource. If we take a look here at the city of Mecca, there is a way to show all the population working in a city. Right, so I need to find a tile that I could justify putting a winery on. I think if we're working this crappy coastal tile, I think if I put a winery right here, I can then switch from working this crappy coastal tile. Now, it costs a hammer to move a population to working this tile, and the winery will actually produce luxuries for me. This horseman needs to heal. I forget how to heal units. Is it actually just only cards that can do it? I don't remember. We could play another monument. If I put a monument right here, it would be +1 happiness and +1 culture for both of these cities. So let's go monument down. Boom. And we definitely need to play another pasture over here in the city because we need to get these cows online. Ooh, I should have put pasture on the wool. Actually, that would have gotten us a luxury. Oh well. I need +1 science. I haven't unlocked libraries yet, and it's probably about time that I did. Now, courthouses are great because they cost marble, but they reduce the maintenance cost of cities by 50%. And that would be super handy in the city of Damascus, for example, because this is a rather expensive city. 5 gold per turn. We can half that down to 2. It's perfect. So we're saving a lot of money there. We're out of hammers. I think I might burn an Axeman here, speculatively, and draw another card. There's the warehouse. Not terrible, but I will keep it. First things first, I need to get rid of some of this food, so I'm going to sell off a bunch of food. I want to keep like 4 in the bank. I'll store the warehouse because it's a good card. I will store... I don't really have another lumber millable tile, so I don't need to keep the lumber mill. Let's keep drawing cards. Fishing hut, not super important. Hanging gardens could be good. I would need the stone. That's the thing that I would be missing. 100% movement, it's an okay card. I could play it. It only costs a horse. 100% movement to an archer isn't bad. It is a ranged unit. They have massively upgraded how the game works. We could play Trade Hub. Sure, it's the ability of this sieve. Ooh, right. So there's some stone. We could get another science. Let's keep drawing cards. If we pick... Oh, there's writing. That's huge. And we want the library because the library produces passive science per turn, which will allow us to tech up. So I'm going to store the library into my stockpile. We'll have that next turn. I'm really, really happy now with the setup that we've got. Do I keep drawing? I think I do. I've got a huge amount of cash. Granary, I want to keep that on my deck. I could play Healing Ritual, and I think that's a good enough turn. If I play Healing Ritual on this guy, now he's back up to full health. I think that's a good enough turn. Let's go ahead and end it. Oh, I forgot to give orders to my units. It's okay. Right, all of the modifiers have been calculated. We're up to 44 score, and... Oh, Divine Decree. Excellent. Let's play the Divine Decree, because I like the +1 gold and the +1 happiness. I'd like to play another settler. Can you settle here? You actually can't settle on desert. Okay, that's actually useful information, because now I might settle here instead. We gathered another little bit of marble. Can you settle there, I wonder? I kind of have to fish around for a settlement location. In terms of another settler, I will pop out one here. Oh, I meant to build a warehouse in that city. I'll store that warehouse. Library. Could use a library in the capital. It's also +1 culture. We could definitely cultivate on the winery. So now this will produce 2 luxuries per turn, which is perfect. Archers are quite good. We could play an archer. Ooh, an archer with berserker is actually sick as hell. So I'm going to give an archer a berserker. I'm going to move this guy forward, move you forward as well. And we'll keep the pain train on the road. Well, pain trains are on tracks. Let's start drawing some cards. Colosseum. If I could get a second stone, it would be handy. I really need science. A Colosseum in Damascus would really help this city out to maintain its happiness. It was at minus like 3 happiness per turn, but now it's only at -1. We can feed happiness in here. Let's do it. Let's feed a luxury in there. We always want to be keeping our cities nice and high. And we can always like use luxuries to get victory points. Like there, I just got 2 victory points for feeding spare luxuries in. Do we want to grow the city? Let's put 3 food into this city so it'll grow next turn. Let's just keep drawing. We have a ton of gold, so we can draw aggressively. These are all great. They take stone, not marble. Unlucky. A farm could be handy. I don't really have any super important farmable tiles, and I don't really particularly need the growth. I might actually be out of the farm business. Do I need any more farms? Like each city really only needs like 1 to 2 good growth tiles. I'll play a farm in here, sure. Just give the city something to do. And I'm going to end my turn there. A famine in that city over there. Perfect. 33 hexes. We're up to 48 score. We need to start pumping up and thinking about our late game. We are kind of entering into the late game zenith. Turn 13. I'm currently in the lead though, which I'm quite happy about. You can tell because I'm at the top of the list. At least I think that's who's in the lead. So we can now build the fort. I actually don't think the fort is a particularly good building, so I always like to burn it. I definitely want metalworking. I have the 2 sides for it, and now that I have access to the swordsman, I can start burning all my other kinds of units. The horseman is still worth keeping because they're actually relatively cheap. They take just 2 production and a horse. It's like a great deal. We could build the pyramids. It's worth 5 victory points, and so for that reason, I will build it. Let's get the pyramids in Mecca, and you can see they actually appear on the map, which is really, really cool. But the cool thing about this game is it's a super crunchy, tight 4x game that can be played in like a very small amount of time. Let's build another road between Medina and Damascus, and that'll further reduce the maintenance cost and mobility of my units on my empire. We have the option to get a temple. I'd like a temple in the capital, so let's do that to keep culture high and the happiness high. We've got great culture. The borders here are expanding lovely. I remember every tile is worth half a point. I'm going to store the swordsman, and I'll spend a few of my luxuries improving my cities, and then I'm going to sell off a ton of this food. Again, we just don't need that much food. I really need to get a mine. I need to get production. So I'm going to draw until I have a card that I feel like I can burn. I'm going to burn double time so that I can get a mine, and this will get me stone income now, and this stone income will be huge. It'll mean that I can get things like Temple of Diana. Like next turn, I will have the resources to get that really cheaply. They're really expensive with production otherwise. Do I want to buy some marble? I don't have I would have to drop a horse. I'll sell a horse and I'll sell a luxury, and then I will buy 2 marble. Perfect. Let's check our unit interactions. Wow, they actually settled these cities like super close together. I never settle my cities that close. That's insane to me. I can get my archer to soften this guy up, so my cavalry should be able to kill him next turn. He should survive this attack pretty comfortably. And let's go to the next turn. Based. So it looks like he captured that city. He claimed it, which I would like to do, and he's sending in a ton of units. So I'm going to need to start producing swordsmen over here to be ready for this war. Swordsman and archer. Let's go ahead and settle the city right there. Let's extract the marble. I want to build the Temple of Diana. Removes the gold maintenance cost for this city's population. If I look here, the city of Baghdad does not yet have maintenance, but it will be an expensive city because it's quite far away. So I'm going to build it here. That's plus 5 victory points. We're up to 67. So we're kind of heading up towards the win condition here. Let's build ourselves another one of these guys. I forgot to move my settler. I'm a little sloppy. It's almost like I'm playing save, right? I make all the same kind of mistakes. I'm going to settle right. Actually, I should totally settle up here to the north. There are like good resources up here, particularly like lots of luxuries and lots of food resources. Let's grab the settler, we'll send it up north, and we'll find a place for it to go. I could do more fishing huts. It's pretty good. Another monument would be swell. Damascus is working all these coastal tiles, so it would be nice to place another fishing boat in here, but it really only gives you +1 food, so it's not that important unless it's on a resource. And similarly, I don't think the farm is particularly important. I will give Baghdad a farm, because it will allow the city to grow, and population is worth score. And the first turn that a population exists, so you can move them for free. I would definitely like to build another library, and I would definitely like to research mathematics. What can I burn to get a second point in science? Well, I don't want to burn that. I don't want to burn a lumber mill. Those are really handy. I don't want to burn a harbour, but their importance has actually fallen off pretty hard here, so I will burn them. This will allow me to get mathematics, and therefore I can start to consider maybe going in a catapult direction, but I definitely want Chichen Itza, especially if I can buy stone this turn. I can build Chichen Itza next turn super cheap. Now I just need to offload resources. But I hope you can kind of see why this game is kind of neat. It has like some really cool ideas. Feels like a board game, and I don't know, I think it just does some really cool stuff. It's like you could play out a game in like an hour. I'm going to go ahead and place a pasture on the sheep. Perfect. We'll do a little shooty shoot, and we'll do a little attacky tack. And the city of Antium. Oh, that was a flank attack based. So now Antium should be ours. We will be able to claim it next turn. I'll bring my horseman over to take over Cume. I'll keep moving an axeman up. The swordsman will start to approach from the southwest rather. The monument could be a handy way. I'm just going to slap down another monument like here. Keep things going. May as well spend my final bits of resources. I might get rid of the archer card out of my deck. My deck is really thick right now. It's a very, very thick deck. There's a lot of cards in it, and I want to trim it. Oh, they built Temple of Diana. I thought I built Temple of Diana. Am I crazy? Huh. Our gold is dipping slightly, but that shouldn't be a big deal. Let's have a look. So we are only a few victory points away. So can horsemen not capture cities, I wonder? That might be the issue here. I want to try that out. I want to try capture them with these guys rather than pillage. So where do I want this settler to go? I think this tile right here is like super optimal. It's adjacent to 3 resources. 1 resource is out of the way. It holds the choke point. So we'll drop right there. The Great Wall is quite expensive actually. It's worth extra. Can I buy another stone? I could technically buy another stone to build the Great Wall. Chichen Itza I think is a little bit better. So let's do Chichen Itza. And you see, I'm trying to figure out how I get enough score. I want to win next turn basically. And I suppose if I burn enough of my deck and build enough wonders, I think I can win next turn actually. So hold on. If I build the Hanging Gardens and I burn a bunch of cards, I can build the Great Wall. All right, let's start drawing. I'm going to start burning just everything I don't think is important to try to get to another wonder card. I don't think Cultivate is particularly interesting. I think we can win this turn if we play our cards right. Well, I mean, I didn't mean to make that pun, but a pun I did make. Okay, we're shuffling. I need to look through. Where are the wonders? What wonders are available? Oh, it looks like okay, I might have screwed the pooch here. It's okay, because I have a plan. We're going to play the Great Wall in Medina. It doesn't matter where. You get that little squiggly chunk of wall right there. Then we're going to take all the luxuries, put them into cities to try to get victory points. So this city has generated the least victory points, so it's most likely to generate them. We've got a 30% chance over here and a 30% chance over here. Nice. Okay, so we got a few victory points out of that. I just need 2 more. And I think with the growth rollover from this turn, I should win next turn. So I think I could just end my turn and I win. And there you go. That's a game of Hexarchy. Very cool, very straightforward, and very fun. There is a playtest for this game available right now on Steam. So go ahead, jump on Steam, search up Hexarchy, check out the playtest, give the developers feedback. I think it's a pretty cool little game. That's why I wanted to do another video on it. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.